Hi everyone. Oh, you can't see me. Oh, there I am. This is my favorite time of day out in front of my house. Because you can see I'm sitting on my front porch, but you can see I'm gonna get a perfect view of the sunset right here. And my cat, Susie, Susie, pss, 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 who thinks she's a dog. So I love to sit out here on my bench out in front of my house. It's just the most beautiful. And my tree. You guys hear me talk about my tree all the time, Nakama. This is my beautiful tree. Isn't she gorgeous? She doesn't have a lot of leaves right now, but she's just beautiful. In the summer, when the leaves are full, you can barely see the sky. She's so beautiful. So, it's International Women's Day. I'm trying to get the phone where you guys can see me. It's International Women's Day. Yay! And that is a very special, very important thing. The empowerment of women and the freeing of the feminine. So we have our sister circle tonight with the Global Sisterhood, of whom I am aligned, with whom I am aligned. And we have our sister circle tonight. And it's always so exciting to me to welcome these women into my home and to help them and be part of their journey as they empower and expand their thinking, because then they go out into the world and they shift everybody around them that they touch. And I think that that's really what it's about, that we welcome in love and then we share that with everyone around us. And then we change the vibration of everyone and everything that we come in contact with. And I think that is just so miraculous. Mercury's in retrograde. And that can be just such a harrowing thing to have Mercury in retrograde. Because we can be triggered. Electronics don't work. Our brains don't work. But retrograde is an opportunity. A friend of mine that I work with, the very brilliant Vanessa Cadornu, she says that retrograde is an opportunity to look back and reassess and see the things that have come before and what could we do different and what do we need to learn from this experience. And I think that is just so powerful to, instead of fearing the retrograde, to welcome it in. And we've been talking for months about the releasing the things that no longer serve us, letting go of those last pieces of those cords. And even when we cut those cords, there's those still, when you buy new clothing and there's a tag on it and it has that plastic thing with the little T, and you can pull it and it pops that tag, that little plastic thing, but that little T part is still stuck somewhere in the cuff of your shirt or in the collar, and it scratches you when you least expect it because you forget that it's there, but you couldn't get it out. It's that little root of the cord that stays inside of us. So when we re-encounter the things where those cords were attached originally, they can be re-energized and we can have those triggering moments. And I know for me, I had one of those this week that just threw me right off the deep end. And my runner monster woke up and said, "Ooh, well, how can I play with you? How can I fuck with you with this Mercury in retrograde?" And it really took me I'm encouraged and grateful to say that it didn't take me the several days that it would have taken me in the past, that my runner monster got a really strong grip on me, and then to be able to say, I can see what this is, I can understand what this is, I can understand why this is, but I have learned so much, and I have come so far, and I am stronger than you, and I will not let you win. And I'm so blessed to have a partner that can understand when I have a triggering event, to be the calm, strong silence and let me just process it through. And that is a gift, to have a partner that can understand dealing with an empath. By the by, just as an aside note, if you are an empath and you're not sure who to date or how to date, or how to help your partner understand you, or how do you understand your partner, may I please, with all of my love in my heart and every fiber of my being, may I please recommend the Empath's Survival Guide by Dr. Judith Orloff. It is a life-changing book, and I can't begin to recommend it enough. It is absolutely a fantastic book. And it really truly helps you understand the world that you live in and how to navigate it. And more than that, it helps you to understand the people you're living in the world with and how they can help you and how you can protect yourself, and how you can really have those people to be compatible with you. And I have to turn the camera around because the sunset is just becoming the most beautiful. And the camera just, of course, this does not even do it justice with this beautiful fire colors that are coming. It is just so gorgeous. I love sitting right here. So I'll turn it back around. So the Empath Survival Guide. So when you have those triggering events that can really throw you off kilter and throw you off of your your ability to function, and that's where our for me, I've always called it my runner monster, but that's where those monsters can really get in there and wreak havoc with our sense of self and what we know to be true about ourselves and our ability to be grounded. And I'll tell you, communicating with my tree has helped a lot in that. But when you get an attack from your runner monster, it may not matter how lovely your tree is, because you just need to learn those coping techniques of how to fight through those triggering events and how to ride it out, because fighting it is not the right word, because when we resist it, we just give the runner monster more things to grab onto and a firmer grasp of it. When we refuse to grant it to play, if you remember that old movie War Games from the 80s with Matthew Broderick, at the end the computer learns the only winning move is not to play. And that is really what I've learned with my runner monster, is just to deny it battle is the winning move. The only winning move is to deny it battle. And so when my runner monster grabs a hold of me like it did this week, to be able to say, I'm not playing, I'm not buying into the lies, I'm not buying into the bullshit, and really taking some deep breaths and just talking through all those things to say, I know what is real and true in my life. I know what is real and true in my heart about self, about myself. And I know that my runner monster likes to give me false evidence, false information to engage me and to really try and throw my life into a spin, because that's what runner monsters do. Now, I know what triggers my runner monster, and everyone has their own their runner monster, or their whatever monster is triggered by whatever it is for you. And so a retrograde, we get into this time of retrograde and we're all just like, oh, retrograde. But I think that Vanessa is really onto something, that when we can take the time to say, okay, it's a retrograde, it is not the end of the world, I'm going to get through this. And we have basically the whole month with March. I think the retrograde goes until like the 20th or 24th. So we have all this time to either drown in it or to allow it to sift and lift. And so for me, that's where I'm really choosing to keep my energy focused, which is not to say that my runner monster is not going to try again, because that bitch is mean, but to sift and lift. And so I say to you, what is it that you were meant to learn that this retrograde is bringing to the surface that you need to or can go back and revisit, that you can grab the lesson that maybe you didn't learn the first time or the last time, so that in doing so you really can free yourself from that little piece of that plastic from the tag and get that off of you and really be released. What is it that you can be freed of? What is it that you need to be to go back to revisit, so you can be released and have learned the lesson that you had that experience to learn, but release the pain, so that the next time that comes around, there is less traction for your monster and less ability for it to throw you into a spiral when there's a triggering event. And for me, this has been the journey, because I didn't take 2 or 3 days. I didn't go to bed and pull the covers up over my head. Granted, I didn't sleep particularly well that night, but I didn't I didn't give in, and I didn't give up, and I didn't let my whole essence be thrown into that spiral, into that vortex. It was, definitely several hours, but it took several hours for it to get that insidious creep and get in there and really grab a hold of me. So it was something I did in the morning, and by 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, had really gotten under my skin. And then that evening was really difficult. And then I didn't sleep well that night. And the next morning I was just very tired, which can also make you a target for your monster. And so by the end of that first evening, because I hadn't eaten all day because I was upset, I that's again a place where your monster can get a foothold in. And so even when you are not feeling like it, and I'm telling you, I sat at the kitchen table with my husband, and I ate protein. I ate a piece of chicken to just get protein in my system, and some leafy greens, a small salad. I didn't like it. I didn't want it. There was nothing wrong with it. It just didn't taste good to me. But I knew I needed the protein and the vitamins from the food in my system in order to mount the counterattack, in order to stay strong in myself. And when we get thrown off and we get out of that, and we just get into that swirl, we don't want to eat, and we don't drink, and we don't take vitamins, and we don't sleep, and we don't do the things that take care of us, that keep us stronger to be able to battle the runner monsters, or whatever your monster is called. And so I really had to make myself choose rational thought, which is, when you're in the spin, it can be so hard to say, okay, I need to eat. I can't fight this if I'm not armed. And so I drank water, and I ate protein, and I ate leafy greens, and then I apologized to my spouse for, all the things that the monsters can make us do. And I totally blame the retrograde. But it has given rise to some really deep meditations and thought processes and processings this week to really identify that little piece of plastic that is still stuck in there, to really be able to release that, and to be free of that monster this time, and to be free of the triggering event, and to be able to move forward. So as we have this retrograde that's going to be with us for the next couple of weeks, I really want to encourage you to take some time to dig in it and not run from it. Sift through and find the things that you need to deal with and face, and lift yourself up, lift the lesson out of it, and lift yourself up so that you can move forward. As always, I am here to help if I can help with some guided meditation, or a reading, and I've been having more and more requests for teaching classes, and I've been so honored to do that. So if there is some place where I can be of service to you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I would love it if you feel like you'd like to share below this video. Comment below. I love reading your comments. It just makes my heart so happy to read your comments of what you are sifting through and lifting up, what lessons you are lifting up, and also how you are coping with getting through the Mercury retrograde. May I remind you to just drink a lot of water, stay grounded, touch the trees, and make sure that you're taking your vitamins and putting nourishing things into your body. That is one of the best things that you can do to keep yourself from being quite so affected by the astrological events, just to keep your human self really safe and grounded and well nourished and well rested and well hydrated. Those things go a really long way. But touching the trees is always good. So I'm going to go over and visit my Nechama, my beautiful tree. Isn't she beautiful in the sunset? And it's a little bit too cloudy to get any good colors. We had some good colors before. But I wish you all a beautiful, wonderful weekend. Happy International Women's Day. I hope you're doing something powerful. And I'm looking forward to our sister circle tonight. And if you're local and you want information about our circle for next month, we'd be delighted to have you. I look forward to reading your comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.